Tokyo is a fascinating city. During the day, it is busy, loud, colorful, and full of life. You hear trains, see crowds, and feel the rhythm of millions of people moving at the same time. But at 3 in the morning, Tokyo becomes a different place. The noise disappears. The streets grow quiet, and the city feels calm and gentle, as if it is resting after a long day. It almost feels like a friendly giant with its eyes closed. This story is about the night I got lost in Tokyo at 3 a.m. Truly lost, with no battery on my phone, no map, no sense of direction, and no way to remember the name of my hotel. But 7 very simple English phrases helped me make it back safely. They were not complicated sentences, but they were all I needed. Chapter 1. A small decision that became a long night. I woke up suddenly around 2:30 a.m. My throat felt dry. I opened my eyes slowly, still half asleep, and looked around my hotel room in Shinjuku. The room felt warm, and the air felt a little stuffy. I reached for the water bottle on the nightstand, but when I lifted it, it was empty, completely empty. I sat up in bed and sighed. I should have bought more water, I thought. I looked at the clock. 2:32 a.m. It was late, very late, but I remembered something many people had told me before my trip. Tokyo is extremely safe, even at night. So I thought, it's okay. I'll just go downstairs, walk to the convenience store, buy water, and come back. 5 minutes, maybe 7. That decision was the start of everything. I put on a light jacket, grabbed my wallet, my room key, and my phone. My phone battery was already low, but I didn't care. I only planned to leave for a few minutes. How much battery do you need to buy water? I stepped outside the hotel. The night air felt fresh and cool. The streetlights shone softly, and neon signs glowed like floating colors in the quiet dark. I felt peaceful. I walked to the 7-Eleven, bought a bottle of water, 2 rice balls, and a small bag of chips. I walked outside, ready to head back. But then I saw a narrow street with small, colorful lanterns hanging above it. It looked beautiful, calm, mysterious, and inviting. I'll just walk for 1 minute, I told myself again. But 1 minute became 5. 5 became 10. 10 became 20. And before I knew it, I had no idea where I was. Chapter 2. Streets with no end. Tokyo has many straight streets during the day, but at night everything looks curved and unfamiliar. Some alleys look almost identical. Some corners look like mirrors of places you walked minutes earlier. I kept thinking, maybe I should turn left. No, maybe right. Wait, wasn't that sign blue before? I tried to stay calm. I walked slowly, looking for something familiar. But every street looked the same. The same small bars. The same glowing vending machines. The same convenience stores. The same signs written in Japanese that I couldn't read. It felt like walking in circles. even when I wasn't. That was when I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Battery, 5%. I whispered, "Oh no." I opened Google Maps. The screen froze. Then it blinked. The brightness dimmed. And then, the phone turned off. I stared at the black screen in disbelief. Not now. Not now. Seriously. I pressed the button again. Nothing. I shook it gently. Nothing. The battery was gone. I was in the middle of Tokyo, far from my hotel, with no directions and no working phone. For the first time that night, I felt a little nervous. I said to myself, "Okay, you need help. Just ask someone. People here are kind." And that was when the first phrase became important. I looked around for someone who wasn't walking too fast. People at 3 a.m. usually want to go home, so I didn't want to bother anyone unnecessarily. I saw an older man walking slowly with a small plastic bag. He wore a white shirt and dark pants, and he seemed calm. I walked toward him carefully. I didn't want to startle him. "Excuse me," I said gently. He turned, surprised, but not scared. He looked at my face for a second, then nodded politely. Even if someone doesn't speak English, "excuse me" makes them stop and listen. It shows respect and softness. It was the perfect phrase to start with. I pointed to myself and said, "I'm lost." He immediately understood. His expression changed from neutral to concerned. He nodded slowly and looked around, as if trying to understand where I might have come from. He pointed at my phone. I shook my head and made an X with my arms. He said, "Ah, denchi." I understood he meant battery. I nodded. Yes. No battery. He smiled kindly and tried his best to give me directions. He pointed left, then right, then forward, and said many Japanese words I didn't understand. But he was trying, and that made me feel calmer. I bowed slightly and said, "Thank you." I walked in the direction he pointed, but after a few minutes, I realized I was still lost. The buildings didn't look familiar. The roads curved strangely. Every bright sign looked identical to the one before it. I walked for another 5 minutes. No hotel. No familiar landmark. Just vending machines, bicycles, and quiet streets. Then I saw headlights, a taxi. I waved. Chapter 3: The Taxi Driver. The taxi slowed down and stopped next to me. The driver rolled down the window. He looked to be in his 60s, with glasses and kind eyes. I leaned down slightly and said, "Excuse me, I'm lost." He nodded calmly, waiting for me to continue. So I used the next phrase. "Can you help me?" I asked softly. He nodded again, still quiet. I tried to remember the name of my hotel. I tried to picture it in my mind, the entrance, the color of the sign, anything. But my brain was blank. My mind felt foggy from walking too long. I said, "My hotel. I can't remember the name." The driver raised his eyebrows, trying to think of something that could help me. Then I remembered something important, my room key. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled it out. I showed the plastic card to him. His face lit up. "Ah, Shinjuku," he said. He pointed at the passenger seat, inviting me to get in. I almost sighed in relief. I opened my wallet to put the key back, and then my stomach dropped. I had only a few hundred yen in coins. Not enough. "I don't have enough cash," I said nervously. The driver looked at my wallet, then at me. For a moment, I worried he would say no. But instead, he pointed at his credit card machine. "You can," he said slowly. I nodded with huge relief and got into the taxi. The seat was clean and soft. The air inside was warm. Soft jazz played through the speakers. After walking for so long, sitting inside that taxi felt like heaven. We started driving through the empty streets. The driver was focused, calm, and patient. But the night still wasn't finished with me. Chapter 4: The Wrong Hotel Again. After about 10 minutes, the taxi stopped in front of a tall building with a bright sign. It had the same hotel brand as mine. But something felt wrong. I stepped outside, looked around, and instantly knew. This was not my hotel. The driver saw my face and asked, "Different?" "Yes," I said quietly. He didn't look annoyed. Instead, he got out of the taxi, walked into the hotel lobby, and talked to the night receptionist for a minute. They spoke quickly in Japanese. The driver pointed at me. The receptionist nodded. He came back smiling. "Correct hotel. 10 more minutes." I nodded and said the next important phrase. "Thank you for helping me," I said sincerely. He smiled warmly and nodded, as if to tell me it was no trouble at all. We got back in the taxi and continued through the calm Tokyo streets. Chapter 5: The Quiet Ride Through the Night. This part of the night felt almost magical. The streets were empty, and everything looked like a movie set. We passed tiny bars with 2 or 3 stools inside. We passed a row of vending machines that glowed blue and red in the dark. We passed a quiet park where a cat sat on top of a bench like it was the king of the world. The driver suddenly asked, "First time Tokyo?" "Yes," I said. He laughed softly. "Good adventure." "Very good," I answered. We passed a group of 3 young people walking home with plastic bags full of snacks. They laughed loudly as they walked by, even though it was close to 4 a.m. They seemed full of energy. We passed Golden Gai, with its small bars and tiny alleys. Everything was quiet, but looked alive in a peaceful way. After what felt like a long drive, the taxi turned onto a narrow street. And then I saw it. My real hotel. Finally, Chapter 6. Back to Safety. The taxi stopped in front of a small building with a blue sign, the place I had been trying to find for more than an hour. I recognized the lobby window, the small tree outside, the vending machine next to the entrance. I had never been so happy to see a hotel before. "Thank you," I said again. I paid with my card, bowed slightly, and the driver bowed back. When I walked inside, the warm hotel air felt like home. I rode the elevator to my floor, opened my door, dropped my snacks on the table, and sat on the bed. It felt like returning from a long, strange journey. The next morning, my phone was fully charged. I opened the Maps app and looked at where I had walked the night before. It looked like a maze drawn by a child. Random turns, long curves, strange loops. Chapter 8. Lessons from the Night. Walking outside again in the daylight felt different. I saw some of the same streets as the night before, but now they looked friendly, normal, clear. Getting lost taught me something important. Sometimes, fear and confusion make a place look darker than it really is. And sometimes, a stranger's kindness can bring light back into the night. I learned Tokyo is incredibly safe. People will help you if you ask politely. Simple English often works better than long sentences. A working phone is more important than you think. And sometimes, getting lost becomes a memory you treasure. The 7 simple phrases that helped me were: "Excuse me. I'm lost. Can you help me? I don't have enough cash. Thank you for helping me. Do you know this place? Can you show me on the map?" These words were small, but they opened doors when I needed them most. Chapter 9. A City That Helps You. That evening, I walked around Shinjuku again. This time I understood the streets better. The same buildings looked less confusing. The same signs looked friendlier. Even the same vending machines felt familiar. I stopped at the convenience store where everything started. I bought another bottle of water and laughed at the memory of the night before. Tokyo did not feel like a maze anymore. It felt like a city with a gentle heart. And I realized, sometimes the best travel stories come from the moments when everything goes wrong, and strangers help you find your way home.